Thanks, Nadia. I see a happy couple, Malik and Najati. That's, of course, really nice. And I think together you can also do more than when you're on your own. Ali, number 6, where are you? Okay, you're still climbing up. That's positive as well. For those of you who have just joined us, thanks for being here for our final and wrap-up session of the Climate Advocacy Learning Journey. Please have a look at this image of the tree with all the figures in it and let us know where you see yourself after this Climate Advocacy Learning Journey and maybe when it comes to your own advocacy efforts. 10. 10 is sort of halfway or just above the middle. Nobody feels like they're 20 and they can conquer the world. That would be maybe a bit too much. 15. Which one is 15? Ah, that is also a nice one. Yeah, I feel you, Nadia. 21. Which one is 21, Kerime? Uh, oh, also a bit. I think Nadia and Kerime can also shake hands. Well, I'm happy that nobody feels like number 14 falling out of the tree. That would be a bit sad. Jess, do you want to share? Oh, you already did. You're number 10 and Francesca number 15. We have another 15. Well, some happy faces, so that's great. Um, and another, oh no, sorry. Oh, Marlene is also here. Thanks for joining, Marlene. We're just asking everybody how they're feeling after or at the end of the climate advocacy learning journey when looking at this tree. Okay, Nadia, should we officially open the session?
Yes, let's go.
So, once again, welcome to our final live session and a huge congratulations to all of you for making it until the end. It's been a long journey. We kicked it off in February and it's already the end of May. Time flies, but it's been a great journey, at least for us to be with you on this climate advocacy learning journey. And again, well done. Next slide, please, Nadia. So Nadia will hand out some sort of virtual awards. I'm handing it to you, Nadia.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I can only echo Diana. Big congratulations for making it to the final live session of this learning journey. I know it has been a long process with a lot of materials, assignments, and quizzes, but great job, everyone. And yeah, today I would like to give out some awards for those who have uh, yeah, done some extra work or efforts throughout this learning journey to reward you. And it was a really tight race because we already had this top three, but then it changed just today. So I had to update it. So good job, everyone. And especially to our top three scorers. So a big congratulations to Abdullah, yeah, Malek and Al-Majir. You were the ones with the highest score, so with the highest experience points, which means you commented, you opened the most resources, and you worked really hard. So we really appreciate this. Um, so the next award is about who was the most active on Curator. So this is only based on the comments. So these awards go out to Najati, to Abdullaye again as well for being very active, and also to Malek. So Thanks so much for your comments. It also makes it really fun for us to read what you thought about the materials, and also just great to hear your reflections as well on the materials provided and the videos and so on. We also have some early birds amongst us. So a big shout out goes to Verlevert for being the first ones to upload their homework assignments. So we really appreciate that for uploading on time, even before the deadline. So thanks a lot for your hard work. And also to Karime for uploading the individual assignments as the first one as well. Then we have also some time zone warriors amongst us. So I want to give a shout out to Francesca, who is based in Thailand. We're aware that during our live sessions, it's hard to accommodate everyone, and unfortunately, that means that those in Asia and the Pacific, and also in the Americas, often have to get up really early or really late to join our sessions. So thanks a lot. Also to Vanessa, who is based in Canada, who had to get up very early, I think at 6 or 7 a.m. in the morning to follow our live sessions. Then we have two people with a perfect live webinar attendance. And I'm also happy to see that Suaib is here as well. So you have attended all the live sessions, as well as Jaap, who unfortunately is not here, I think. But we really appreciate for showing up to the live sessions, as this is the interactive part of our learning journeys where you can exchange with each other and also ask the facilitators questions. So these were the awards for this learning journey, and thanks a lot again. And I would like to hand over to Diana to facilitate a mural exercise where we brainstorm and do a mind map together. So let me try to find the link and share it in the chat with you. Well, I hand over to Diana in the
Yeah, thanks,
meantime.
Nadia. So if you can please follow the link that Nadia just put into the chat, it will take you to Mural, which we also used, I think, in our welcome module. You can see it projected on the screen as well, but please, yeah, click on the link. And what you see there is a sort of mind map of the entire climate advocacy learning journey. And we would really like to hear from you through this map and would kindly ask you to summarize the key takeaways for each module that, yeah, you've retained from the course. You can move freely between these modules. We will give you 10 minutes or something to work on this. And provide some feedback on each module, maybe things that you found really useful, areas for improvement, topics that you missed and wish had been covered, or any challenges. There is also a section for general feedback or takeaways. Oh, sorry, if you quickly move up to the left. And we would also appreciate if you could write down at least one commitment on how you will use what you learned in this learning journey in your work or for your organization. So yeah, let us know if you have any issues accessing the mural. Otherwise, you can also put it in the chat and then we can copy it to the respective module. Just make sure then that you let us know for which module, to which module it applies. You don't need to log in, as Nadia put in the chat. You can just join as a guest. And then we will give you, well, we'll start with giving you 10 minutes to work on this, and then we'll see how far you are, and you can have a bit more time if necessary. So good luck. I can see people moving around. If you have any questions, just let us know. You can just click on the sticky note and double click it, and then you can start typing. So it is following the order of the learning journey. Welcome module, then advocacy and policy influencing was module 1, tools and tactics was module 2, CALJ program evidence and advocacy module 3, influencing national planning module 4, and advocacy and influencing in the UNFCCC was module 5.
Hi everyone, sorry, but I just joined and I find a mural here and can I Yeah,
Yes.
Hi, Laura. Thanks for joining.
sorry for the
So,
wait.
no problem. I know you're visiting a project, so you can join the mural if you're joining from a laptop and put in your input there. And if you can't, for some reason, do that, you can always use the chat and I can put it in the mural on your behalf.
And the instructions are on the mural, Rua. We're basically asking for your key takeaways and or feedback on each of the modules in the learning journey, as well as at least one commitment to how you will use what you've learned in the training in your work.
Okay.
And we'll give you all a little bit longer because I can still
Yep.
see that people are working around. So take your time, Rua.
Okay, thank you so much. I have access now and I will be added my
Great.
inputs. Thank you.
Thanks. 2 more minutes, and then we'll have a look at some of the things you posted together. All right, I hope that most of you managed to fill out some of the sticky notes. Feel free to continue while we start looking at some of the feedback and reflecting on it, on the modules and the learning journey together. I also have the mural open on my other screen. And I think the one that really made me laugh was under advocacy and influencing in the UNFCCC. I'm a master of acronyms now. I think, yes, for sure, this learning journey was full of acronyms in many of the modules, as is, a lot of our work, and especially if you work for CARE, but I think it goes for other organizations as well. So I can totally relate to that. Um, let's see what it says. If I'm looking now at module 1, Nadia, maybe you can move up. Somebody said that they found the assignment really relevant as it was useful to think about how to pitch. I'm really happy to hear that. And we hope that, yeah, there will be an opportunity for you to do, let's say, an elevator pitch. So keep on practicing because you never know when it might happen or when it's needed. Somebody says it's very useful as it helps convincing decision makers on some specific priorities, sparks inspiration to the type of work in climate advocacy. For module 2, Nadia, I think this also came about in the final review of the learning journey that people really like module 2, and that's not a surprise because each year it's very popular. And I think it also had well, not the highest expectations, but people were looking forward to it a lot when we asked this in the welcome module. Somebody says it removes some of the anxieties of planning by providing a framework that gives guidance. Would the person who wrote this maybe say a little bit more about it? Of course, this is anonymous, and now I'm asking you to reveal yourself, but it will help for the discussion. Who wrote this sticky note? Don't be shy. Why did this module remove some of the anxiety for you? Nobody?
We have an answer in the chat from
Oh,
Francesca, who's at the
ah,
airport, so she can't
sorry.
open the mic.
That makes sense, Francesca. Thanks for joining, even when you're at the airport. Um, Being a new program officer, it helps with practical steps in planning. That's really great. What do other people think? Is it the same for you? Did you already have experience, maybe? What are some of the other things that I shared there? Mastering tools and tactics and properly making use of it makes it easy to influence policies. Are there any tools that you would have liked to learn more about that you know of? Or did you have certain expectations about tools and tactics that would be included but weren't there? Is it difficult to say if you're totally new to the field? But for those of you who have some experience, help me out, guys and
Yeah,
girls.
Diana, I can share my
Great.
takeaway. This is Najari. I mean, I'm relatively new to the climate justice field, yet this journey helped me learn through a lot of topics. But I mean, the insightful part from my side is that to actually discover that there are tools. I know that we're like most of us aren't actually technical people, but we're going to get support from the technical arm, whether in the organization or our partners. But having the confidence of that there are tools on the ground that we can utilize them was very helpful for me to be aware of.
Great. Thank you so much. Who else would like to share? It doesn't need to be about module 2, but maybe something else that you wrote down would be nice to hear from you. Now that you have some time to order your thoughts, perhaps through this mural. Anybody? I'm just gonna wait for as long as as I need to. Malek, do you want to share something? Are you with us, Malek?
Hi, yeah, sorry,
Oh, you're dropping off, Malek. We can't hear you.
yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I'm mute, unmute, and connectivity
Okay.
issue. Sorry for this one. Can you repeat the question again, please?
Yeah, do you want to share one of your main takeaways out of the learning journey or feedback?
On this specific section, the tools and tactics, or
No, any module.
like in general, maybe I can share something general, not for a specific module, but the whole journey was extensive and rich at the same moment. The software or the platform also you use to upload the videos and the whole interaction quizzes part was also enriching and left us with some flexibility on not only to answer the quizzes, but also to search. Because most of the time, the answer is not on the top of your mind. So you go back, you search, you look into online materials or the platform materials, which was, of course, appreciated by me and by colleagues also.
Great. Thanks, Malek.
Thank you.
I also saw a note under the general feedback. Maybe you can move there, Nadia, saying, yeah, that it can be difficult to attend the webinars, of course, because they might conflict, and that is of course tricky, especially with a group and people sharing, joining from different places. So that's also why we chose for this partly asynchronous, partly synchronous training, so that you can at least, yeah, find your own time to do the readings and look at the videos and work on the assignments. But yeah, I appreciate the challenge with attending all of the live session when, yeah, those are, of course, also allowing you the opportunity to engage with your peers and learn from the facilitators. And we've also taken note of the submission deadline, where somebody's saying that Sundays are not ideal for those using work devices, so maybe Monday deadlines is an option for the future. That's a really good suggestion. We could, of course, change the deadline until sort of the end of the day, Monday, when the new module already opens. We also try to be a little bit flexible with the assignment deadlines. And just thinking of it now, but earlier today, Monica shared her feedback to the assignment for Module 5 with us. Nadia, I'm not sure if you already had the opportunity to forward this to those groups, but otherwise, please know that this is coming your way.
It's already on curators
Oh,
for those
perfect.
groups who submitted by the deadline. It's provided already on curator, and then for the group who submitted today or yesterday, feedback is on its way, hopefully by the end of this week.
Yes, thanks. And Najati, thanks for also sharing your input in the chats. I did see it by zooming in. It's really nice to read. Thank you. Rua, do you have something to share? Maybe a reflection on one of the module or the learning journey in general? Rua, can you hear us? I think Rua is involved in something else. Jess, do you want to share something?
Hey, I agree with what's already been said about the platform. I think it's really useful and really great the way things are set out and how clear everything is with each module. Overall have really enjoyed the journey and I'm quite new to advocacy, but want to do more of it. And it's been really great to have particularly the practical examples of when things have worked and hearing from different people in different programs and what's been effective. And the assignments as well, I think have been really like practical and helped you to use all of the knowledge that's been learned in the online courses and in the live seminars to put that into practice. Um, that's my general feedback.
Thanks, Jess. Thanks. Appreciate it. Nadia, I'm looking at the commitments now. Maybe you can move down, because those are also really nice to read. And somebody is saying that they commit to making a practical strategy guidebook based on the materials and resources from the course. That sounds like a really great idea. And we will be sharing the full resource pack with you, next week or the week after, once the training has concluded. So yeah, that you have access to all the readings and the recordings and the slide decks, and can always go back to them when that is helpful or necessary. Because somebody's also saying, I commit to revisiting the slides and tools that I downloaded every so often. Sorry, Rua, I can now see your message in the chat. It's cutting off. Sorry to hear that, but hopefully you get the main gist of it. And yes, I commit to sharing key learnings with other colleagues. I think that is a great way to indeed spread the impact and have your colleagues also benefit from the learnings and from the resources. So yeah, you can also feel free to share the readings or the materials with your colleagues, and maybe have a discussion with them on how you can use the tools and implement the actions. Thanks so much. This mural will be available, so if you think of other takeaways or reflections, then you can continue to put them here, and we will carefully review everything, just like we're also always carefully looking at the feedback that you're putting in the module reviews, and we use that to improve our training. We do have Marlene with us as well, and some of you posted some questions in the final module on Curator, and I would like to give Marlene the opportunity to answer those questions and any other questions that you might still have. So I think Nadia will put up the slide again with the questions, and then Marlene, can I invite you to go over those questions?
Okay, hi everyone. And again, congratulations for making it to the last module today, or a closing webinar. So I will try to respond to some of these questions that you have raised. And the first one is around how to operationalize climate justice beyond advocacy. So I think apart from advocacy, which we usually do more in terms of airing our voices and finding justice through different platforms of ensuring that the groups that are vulnerable, that don't have the voice, are able to be heard and or even be seen in different platforms. Other ways we can do this is purely through a program implementation or project implementation. And one of the ways to do this is basically through ensuring that these communities that we work for or we work with, these marginalized groups that we advocate for, we ensure that they are actually at the center of program or project cycle. For example, the project cycle has around 5 stages. So there's the concept, note development, proposal development, and then if it goes through, there's implementation, then there is learning or evaluation and management, basically. So the whole cycle. This is one of other ways to ensure that climate justice is actually taken care of, because then we have these groups as key decision makers doing the concept, doing the proposals. We have them, there's a lot of transparency. We provide, give them the opportunity to manage financial resources if they're local organizations. We at the different platforms, we advocate for finance flowing to the local level, for example. So how do we ensure some of these projects, they are actually managing the projects, the finances, transparency of most of the information of this work that we're doing. One time I was evaluating the Green Climate Fund projects in 10 African countries that CARE has implemented. And one of the challenges that we had is that these people who are beneficiaries of some of these projects from Green Climate Fund don't even know where the money is coming from and maybe why. But they understand why there is climate change in their own language. So I think it's important to ensure there's transparency of information of resources and many other things, because then this one also helps us to operationalize climate justice, ensuring the community at the center, they have the information, they make decision, they able to be sitting in key decision-making processes at the local level and being elevated even at the sub-local and even national level. So what tools or frameworks can guide program design? At care level, we have a number of them. I think in one of the modules, the national planning that Obed was leading, you were able to see the joint principles for adaptation. But apart from that one, we have the locally led adaptation principles that were launched by WRI, the World Resource Institute. This is also one other important tool that we can use to guide program design. And this is because it's apart from, ensuring communities are at the middle or at the center of all the work, the aspect of finance, the LLAs, how is it different from the other tools? For example, it ensures that communities are able to make decisions around the finance of the projects or programs that are being implemented at the local level. And that gives them power, basically. And then in terms of frameworks, we have a number of them that at CARE we use. For example, we have the community-based adaptation approach, whereby, we are just working, ensuring it's almost the same approach as the LLA, but the main driver behind all this is to ensure that communities are realistically not just saying, but at the center of the work that we do, decision making, and most importantly, I think where there's more emphasis around finance management, finance flow, allowing the communities, the groups to manage financial resources, and we don't have to manage that on their behalf. So that they are at the center of ensuring they're building their capacity financially, technically, and also around project implementation. There's this difficult one here, and I think it's very interesting because we can see one of the among the more powerful countries in the world, for example, Trump, basically what he says about climate change. But even if you look at the USA itself, we see a lot of events that are attributed is the word, and you can underline that, to climate change. Most of the time, even with science and with IPCC, for example, there are a lot of discussion around attribution because some events can be natural, but we know that climate change exacerbates a lot of these events, and some of them becomes worse. So I know the people, there's this discussion around how do we attribute that this event is purely, led by climate change, or it has exacerbated climate change. And this is one of the discussions that is taking place at the UNFCCC, the climate discussions at the IPCC level, at the scientists when they're reviewing and working to come up with the seventh assessment reports on the status of basically climate. And yeah, there are people who are skeptic, but I have spoken to a number of scientists who I'm able to privilege to meet in different meetings, and I don't think would want to force people to see the science, but just for them to see around them what's happening, and and if they have the knowledge to try and look historically how things were, how are things now, and how do they explain that, or how can they attribute that? I think that is basically it, because if then you don't follow the science, then how else can you say there has been change, and this change we are saying it is caused by climate change? And just by looking around us, the different hazards or things that happen, and then we can make some of this judgment. For example, at some of the communities do not understand what climate change is, but when you talk to them, they wouldn't tell you this is climate, but they'll tell you in the last 20 years, this is how things used to be. In 10 years back, this is how we used to do things. 5 years ago, this is how things have really changed. And now this is how we are seeing things are really changing. So there are different ways that we can use to try and drive the message home. Apart from science, just let us look around us and see some of these things that are happening. Take time to look at the historical information of the context of the area where you are. I think this one is easily available. And then you can also make your own judgment. So basically, that is how I try to respond to this question because the fact that, for example, someone can argue, there's some key people who are basically key figures globally, and they think it's not important and they cannot talk about it, and even maybe they can't provide funding to it, or they're cutting themselves out of this discussion. Doesn't really mean it's not happening, but also sometimes it's about political agendas and driving some kind of narrative around some issues. So it's up to us to look at the different scenarios, our environment where we're in, what's happening, and how do we explain some of these scenarios happening. Yeah, so I don't want to say we are all smart, so we should follow science. That is fine, and that is basically what drives the conversation at the UN level when we talk about climate change. But also there are other aspects that we can use to attribute why we think this is we cannot get tired of it, but also we must continue engaging because we can see the impacts around us, communities where we are, the towns and the cities where we stay. We see impacts of climate change through different ways, and therefore just finding ways to be able to address the problem. So that is the more broader way I could try to explain this. Also borrowing some of this information from the few scientists that have engaged around the same issue, and when they are arguing about Trump, for example, and others. So that is how different people look at this different scenario. Yeah.
Thanks, Marlene. Really interesting. And I mean, other than science and sort of hard facts, I think more and more we also come to realize how valuable the stories of the communities are and can be used as evidence. I mean, donors, for donors, it might not always, I don't know, work because they're looking for indicators and, frameworks and all of that. But yeah, the impact is felt on the ground. And sometimes I think those messages can be most powerful also to use by us, and in these more formal platforms. Does anybody else maybe have a question? Since we have Marlene here and this is our last opportunity to be together. Yeah. I see you're here. That's nice. I'm not sure when you joined, but I think the last question was your question. So I hope you were able to catch some of Marlene's response.
So I was going also to say there's a lot of discussion around attribution, and I think this question is a lotly linked to attributing. If you're talking about loss and damage, how do you attribute that to climate change, for example? And even scientists themselves, when communities are developing, for example, projects to the Green Climate Fund, there is a section where they're supposed to attribute the problem to climate. And for some communities, there are no studies that have been developed in that area that they can show this is a paper that was done to attribute this to that. But yeah, like Diana said, the stories, they can tell you the changes over time and how things have been and how the historical timeline and all that. So basically, let's also be aware of these discussions around attribution and listen to maybe some of the context where we're working and just to hear how are different people seeing that. But when it comes to IPCC, to science people, to donors, yeah, they're asking for indicators. These are there, but sometimes it's very difficult to attribute some of this. And one big example is loss and damage. People are now really trying to attribute loss and damage to climate scientifically. We know that when we are not able to adapt, then we get to the hardest limit of adaptation is basically moving towards loss and damage. And so how do you attribute? There's some of these discussions that sometimes there is no data that is there for you to attribute that, but people can tell you that or when you listen to the story, then you're able to see really how the impacts of climate change or the changes over time of climates or weather leads to some of these problems. So yeah, just be aware of the attribution discussion, because then this is where it brings us to this last question of divisive issues around climate change. But some people, I think when you talk about climate justice, that is basically not justice anymore, because how do you want some old people to attribute some of this? They can attribute to the knowledge because they know it, they have seen it over time, but it's not documented anywhere. So when you're talking about is some of these issues or demands climate justice, then no, that is basically not justice. And these are some of the discussions that are going on around some of these issues. Yeah.
Thanks, Marlene. Maybe one question from my end. At CARE, you and others are preparing to go to Bonn to be part of the upcoming sessions in preparation of the next COP. What is your expectation for that?
So the bond sessions basically try to advance discussions or decisions that were made from COP29, for example. So there are going to be a lot of discussions around, for example, let me start with adaptation, because this year we are going to have a framework on global goal on adaptation. So there's a lot of work going around developing indicators around the different 7 thematic areas that will help us measure progress around adaptation. So if you're an expert in water, what indicators are you using to say, if we achieve this, then this is perfect adaptation or best adaptation, and therefore we see that there's going to be impact. So these discussions are going to take place. Adaptation, it's one of the big discussions. Another one is, of course, around NDCs. It's an NDC year. There's a lot of discussion around ambition. How have countries developed their NDCs? Are they ambitious enough? We are well above 1.5. What does it mean? Because these current NDCs are going up to 2035. So will they keep us afloat? Because 2050 is not far away. We are supposed to be getting to net zero. So discussions around ambition and NDC is going to take a center stage. Finance, of course, apart from the 300 billion that was achieved, there are some frameworks that were decided at COP. For example, Baku to Belém, how to achieve the 1.3. I think it's going to be an interesting discussion because they want to unpack that and see, and there's a discussion around, providing numbers to adaptation, to mitigation, to loss and damage. So is that how realistic is that? And these are some of the discussions that are going to take place just to unpack that. Although there's not much hope around that, but just how do we work with the 300 billion? But how do we advance discussions of how to achieve the 1.3 trillion? So there is also big deal, and also the gender action plan. Last year in COP, they achieved the Lima Work Program. So the gender action plan was going to be decided as well. So there are a lot of discussion around gender participation, involvement, decision making at the global, and then of course downscaling that to the national level. So there are going to be a lot of discussions around gender. And yeah, I think those are some of the main discussions that are going to be discussed. Of course, there's no decision that will come up out of SBs, but basically advance the negotiation.
Oh, we're losing Marlene for a second. Don't know if you can still hear us, Marlene, but we lost you. That's too bad.
Is top of their priorities.
We lost you for a second, Marlene.
Sorry. I was saying finally the COP presidency from Brazil shared a third letter this week. Let me just try I'll get the link and post here as I finish talking. And they have some priorities as we head to Bonn and COP. And one of the priorities around adaptation and national adaptation plans. You know, these are very, being an adaptation year as well, these are key important discussions that they wish to advance, and hopefully we'll find good decisions, strong frameworks that help us implement adaptation well at the local level. We might not have finance for that because that is another discussion around, you know, public finance, looking at what happened, but at least having strong frameworks in place, strong decisions in place that then will advance discussions around finance as we proceed. So I'm gonna hand it over to you, Diana. But before I check out, I'll be posting that letter here just for those who've not seen it, should be able to see some of the priorities that the presidency has already committed to ensure that it gets the center stage in Bonn, but also as we head to COP30. Thanks.
You're mute, Diana.
Sorry. Why does it keep on happening always, right? But Marlene, thanks a lot for your your final reflections. I think she's already. Are you still with us? Yeah, you're still there. Sorry.
Still here.
And for sharing that link, that would be really useful. And of course, if any of you has follow-up questions after the training, don't hesitate to send us an email, and we're also happy to forward it to Marlene, or you can probably also reach out to her directly, but we're, happy to stay engaged and involved in any future work. We have some final reminders. Nadia, can I pass it back to you for those?
It happened to me as well. Now I'm unmuted. So here are a couple of last reminders. I already posted this in the WhatsApp group, but these are the requirements for the certificate, as you may know. And I'm also posting the tracking sheet here in the chat. So once again, in order to be eligible for the certificate, you need to have completed at least 4 live sessions, and I think this is incorrect here, but it should be I think 6 and 6 final assignments and quizzes, but it should be there in the tracking sheet. So please take the tracking sheet as the most updated requirement. And if you need an extension, you can also reach out to me about this, of course. So that was it on certificates, and we will be sending out the certificates next week. So what is next after this learning journey? So the curator platform will still be accessible just for a couple more weeks. So that's until the 15th of June. And we'll be sending out this final resource pack. So actually you would have other resources which are on curator also in this final resource pack as well. So you continue to have access. Right now you're also officially part of our alumni community by having taken this learning journey. So this includes the newsletter, which will be sent out, I believe, 3 times a year. And we also have a LinkedIn alumni group where we sometimes post some updates, and you can also follow us on LinkedIn for the latest climate justice updates from CARE. So Diana or Margarita, if you can put that in the chat, that would be appreciated. And also thanks a lot, Marlene, for putting the letter in the chat as well. And then one final announcement is that we have our Login and Learn event, which will take place on the 24th of June. And this is the alumni speaker event. So we invite 3 times a year someone to give us a short presentation about a particular topic related to climate justice. So in this case, we talk about using indigenous knowledge for locally led adaptation plans. And it is a colleague from CARE Somalia who will be leading this session. So you're all invited, and we really hope to see you there. And it's really a short session, only 45 minutes, just intended to take a break from your day and continue to learn something about climate justice. So I see we had some questions in the chat.
Sorry, Nadia. I was referring to the requirements, and actually our information on the tracking sheet is inconsistent because
Yeah,
for quizzes we say on one tab we say 5 out of 6, and on the other tab we say 6 out of 6. But
okay.
anyway, it is 5 out of 6. So just wanted to clear that. And I was busy looking at that when you asked me to put something in the chat, so I didn't hear that.
It's our LinkedIn page.
Oh yeah, I will do
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and I see, unfortunately, our resources are only available in English. But we also will putting in the links of the recording of the webinars. And those will have this automatic French subtitles. So unfortunately, like the self-paced courses or the online courses won't be in French, but the videos will be, or at least you can have subtitles with that. Then what's next in terms of learning experiences that we're offering? Very excited to again offer a learning journey on the climate vulnerability and capacity analysis in most likely in February 2026, but the exact date has yet to be confirmed. But in case you're interested, you can always reach out to us and we can put you on the list of interested participants already if you can't get enough of this learning journey. So feel free also to invite your networks once we will posting this more broadly on our socials as well and on our website. And yeah, this is also what I said before. We would like to stay connected with you, of course. So we have the WhatsApp group, which remains available to you to also connect with each other. But we always are also available on our email, so the Climate and Resilience Academy at carenederland.org, as well through our alumni speakers event, as well as our LinkedIn channels. So we're almost at the end of our session, but of course we want to take a picture, a final picture with you on this learning journey. So I would kindly like to ask you if you could open your cameras for those who want to be featuring on this picture and show me your nicest smile if you want, and I'll take a screenshot of you. So I have two screens, so it'll be a bit confusing for me, but so maybe let's see, is everybody's makeup and hair looking good? Okay, I'll take 1, 2, 3. Okay, I think I have it. Yes. So thank you so much. I don't know to which screen to look to. So I believe that was our final announcement. So thanks a lot, everyone, again. And don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions on the requirements or on or if you want an extension of the deadline. This learning journey, as it will officially close this Sunday already. So thanks a lot, everyone. Again, we really appreciate you showing up to our final webinar, doing all the quizzes and the assignments, and we hope to stay in touch and feel free to follow us as well on LinkedIn.
Thank you, Nadia, and thanks everybody. Nice to see you. Well, those that have your camera on, and happy to stay in touch with you. Take
Thanks a
care.
lot, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.